This portrait of Ruth Bader Ginsburg is made up of about 5,000 Lego pieces. But zoom into her blue eye again. You've got a square blue Lego. Diagonal to that is a rectangle one. And another rectangle is perpendicular to that. Then, separated by a row of black, another square blue Lego. To you and me, this pattern doesn't translate into an eye, but that's how artist André Vallée sees the world, in pixels. Each portrait starts on the computer. In André's case, 2 computers. He uses them to turn a regular image into one that can be recreated using Legos. He plays around with the contrast and saturation of the image in Photoshop to get the picture just right. The higher the contrast of the photo, the better it translates into pixels. Then, he crops it into the shape of the canvas and moves the image to his other computer. From there, he uses a separate program to turn the image into pixels. Each pixel corresponds with a Lego stud on the canvas. But figuring out the colors? That takes a little more work.
Each person you take for a portrait has their own colour balance, if you like, and that depending on their skin tone and their hair colour and their general appearance. And so you need to choose a Lego palette with colours that will be complementary to that.
And his palette is already pretty limited. The official Lego palette that André uses has 51 different colors, 33 of which are solid. The remaining ones are considered special bricks. And contrary to what some people might think, André doesn't use any custom bricks other than the ones engraved with his signature.
I will just reduce the Lego colour palette, take out some of the primary colours that I don't want to appear in the portrait. In that way you get a more realistic and kind of photorealistic portrayal of the portrait.
Taking out a handful of colors limits his range even more. And it's possible André might have to change a color or two during the building process. He begins the physical portrait by creating the canvas with base plates.
I found out these are aftermarket ones. These are not made. This is the only thing I use that's not made by Lego. This is another company that makes standard base plates, but they're thicker. And so this gives a much stronger structure for the whole piece and it holds together better.
André uses Legos to attach the base plates together to form the canvas. Then, using placeholder bricks, he maps out the general shape of the section he's going to work on. These are brightly colored bricks that won't blend in with the colors he's actually using. Once that's done, he lays down the first bricks. Because the process involves a lot of rearranging bricks and swapping out colors, it makes it difficult for him to know exactly how many bricks he'll need of each color.
When I build a piece, I'm always running out of stock of the pieces I need, so I have to then put some kind of placeholder in and leave it there until the stock actually arrives, and when the stock arrives you can replace them with the pieces you need.
Because of this, it could take André up to 3 months to complete one portrait. He doesn't like to keep these portraits flat, and that could mean adding layers of texture to the hair, face, or the background. This vastly increases the amount of Legos he needs. Creating texture in each specific section requires using different kinds of bricks. For the hair, André might use varying sizes and colors of stacking bricks, thin plates, and slanted, single, and square bricks to create a textured effect. Sometimes deciding what bricks to put down is also an economical choice.
I have all the black around the edge now, so it doesn't really matter what colour I use in the middle because it's not going to show at the edge. So I'm going to fill the middle with whatever colour I want. I try and use the most economical priced piece for the middle section because Lego is not the same price for each colour. Some colours are much more harder to find, they cost a lot more, so you don't use those as much.
Next, André moves on to the face. He makes it using a majority of flat plates that vary in colors and hues, and it can be tricky to get right. If 1 or 2 bricks are placed in the wrong spot, he might end up with something odd looking pretty quickly. Because this can easily happen, it could mean putting in and taking out bricks hundreds of times, which can do some damage to André's fingers. When he gets it right, it all starts to come together.
I mean, that's what I kind of like call the magic as it comes together. You can see nothing for such a long time, and then you suddenly see it all.
But the most important step to give the portrait its realistic feel? The eyes.
The principal elements in them are the eyes and the lips, specifically the eyes. And you have to design the eyes so they're going to make some kind of connection with the viewer when it's produced. And so that takes the most time because if you think of a single eye in one of my pieces, it's probably got a pixelation level of say like 10 by 10. incredibly small amount of information. But because our brains are so attuned to faces and particular eyes, you can make it work in a very powerful way.
After putting the final piece in place, he wipes off any fingerprints to reveal the finished portrait.